We're starting.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Welcome to the Microsoft Pulse with Tamara and Tom. Jen and Adam are out helping other customers at the moment, doing troubleshooting and firefighting and all that good stuff. So, Tom and I are here to talk about the Microsoft roadmap, what's new, what's changed, and how it's going to impact you. It's broken down, if you haven't been with us before, it's broken down into 4 sections. The in development section means Microsoft is working on building that feature. Then we move to the rolling out, meaning it's started to go out to all of the different tenants. Finally, we have launched, which means everybody should have it if it's been released into your tenant. And then we have canceled. So we do have a couple canceled items on our roadmap today. So, Tom, I'm going to ask you to start. And are you going to start with all the Copilot things?
Pretty much.
All right. You take all the Copilot things, and I'll take all the
All
other
the
things.
rest. There you go. So we do have some Copilot stuff, which is not unusual because, of course, at Ignite, everything was Copilot. So a couple of the ones that we have here, the first two, and these are both looking like they're identical. They've got different
Mm-hmm.
feature numbers. They're off by one, but they have different release dates too. So I don't know exactly what the deal is here, but
Somebody's optimistic, somebody's pessimistic.
I like that. I will keep that in mind, which means you're going to get it in February instead of January or March. Uh, reference sources are cited in drafted content. So this is when you're drafting content that's based on reference sources. Copilot's going to include the citations in the text it generates, indicating references to information in the content. This is awesome because if you know anything about generative AI, they've got the whole thing with hallucinations where it can make up facts if it doesn't have stuff that it can't figure out otherwise. This, with the fact that it's referencing your sources and giving citations, tends to reduce the number of hallucinations that you'll get, in addition to enabling you to go out and check and see they cited this. Let me go look at it and see if what they said about it is actually true. So this makes it much easier to go in and uh, basically cross-check what's being said, because you should never take anything generative AI, just, yeah, copy it, boom, let's go with it. Not a good use of generative AI. So as I said, they've got two different items here. One's a release date of January, one's a release date of March, and this is actually for Word and Copilot. So if you're dealing with Word, you're dealing with Word documents, you're referencing your sources, that's where you're going to get these citations. The next one that they have, this one is also for Word, has the same thing, it's off by one. Microsoft Copilot, write a prompt for selected portions of text in Word. This is really cool because if you're using a document to say, okay, I want you to ground your answer based on this document, instead of having the whole document in play, which may be a problem if it's like 40, 50 pages long, now you can go through and say, draft some content for me based on the selection that you make. So instead of having to say, oh, it's entire table graph, entire list, entire, paragraph, you can now prompt your grounding based on a single sentence or item in your document. So this is enabling you to get much more refined and saying, okay, I want to get an answer, but I want it just on this particular piece of the Word document. And they're now narrowing it down even further to where you're going to get answers based on specific things that you've picked out, which is really good. We have two different dates here. One's January, one's February. So I would look for it somewhere in between those two, like January 31st, maybe. And then if we continue going down the roadmap, we have another one that's the same type of thing, and it's also in Word, and that is creating the perfect banner for your document with Copilot and Designer. So chat with Copilot in Word and let Designer help your document stand out by catching or producing eye-catching visuals that fill the width of the page. For those of us who really suck at doing design work, this is really cool. So this enables you to put some, bling into your document, and it's going to help you come up with a banner based on your chat description that will probably be better than something you could make, and it's going to be a whole lot faster too. So that's due out actually this month. So keep an eye open for that. And then the final one, Microsoft Copilot read aloud support added to Copilot chat responses. Yay! So if you go out there and say, hey, generate a 3-page document that talks about XYZ on this particular topic, pretend you're a whatever, and it spits it all out, you can sit there and read it, or you can just say, hey, read this aloud to me, because sometimes that'll give you a different feel for how that
Mm-hmm.
document may come across instead of you reading it and you don't have that voice, you don't have that sound for how it might be coming across to them. So this is, I think, going to be very useful for some people if they really want to make sure that what they are about to put out there is actually sounding the way they would like it to sound. This is also coming out this month, so keep an eye open for that also. And I think that is it for the in development Copilot stuff. So Tamara, let's see what all other things you're going to cover here.
So here's a new thing. Outlook first phase of PST support in new Outlook for Windows.
Hashtag.
The first phase PST, aka Outlook data file, support in the new Outlook for Windows provides read-only access to mail items within the PST file. So users will be able to open PST files, read their emails within the PST file, and search PST files for emails. Now, all calendars, contacts, and task data saved in a PST file are still there, but they can't be accessed in this preview. So this new release will expand PST support and capabilities. That's coming out next month, January 2025. Then we also have bookings, the new queue experience in bookings to manage appointments for the day with real-time attendee wait status and text reminders. So the new queue experience in bookings is going to enable schedulers and bookings users to view the status and monitor all scheduled in-person and virtual appointments. Users can quickly create or view an appointment and send staff and attendees email reminders and text notifications. And that's in bookings. That I believe is in GCC and the worldwide tenant. Then we have, and I'm a little giddy about this. This is a delighter for me. The Microsoft Teams resize Teams windows and the left and the right hand panes.
That is a really cool thing.
I know, I'm excited. Adjust the size of your team panes to prioritize what's currently most important for you and or snap and resize team windows with Windows 11 snap layouts. So you can view multiple applications side by side. And we know what that means. We know that means multitasking in a meeting.
Yeah, there is that, but hey.
And then everyone has to repeat what they said to you, the question they asked, and they have to repeat it. Here's a way around that. Before you ask a question or assign a task, say the person's name first, then assign the task or ask the question. It does a couple different things. One, if you're using the meeting recap, it will actually mention the person in the transcript.
Oh,
It will
nice.
make their name big and red, so it's easy to find out what they need to do. Also, it alerts those who are multitasking that they better pay attention. So, a couple things there.
Well,
Also,
the other thing that I was going to say, the other
yeah,
thing I like about resizing team windows is if you're somebody like Tamara or myself, where you've got like 2 or 3 or 4 monitors, that may not be a big thing, especially if you're sitting there looking at 36 inches of, screen layout. However, if you're working on a really small laptop because you're on the road, being able to resize those windows and maybe make your content one bigger to try to get as much room
Hmm.
as you can is a really good thing. So this will be really good, I think, for the road warriors that are dealing with smaller laptops, lighter
Yeah.
laptops. You'll be able to deal easier in teams and not have all the clutter if you can just push things, a little bit off to the side type thing.
Then we have a Microsoft Teams end the session for attendees, and then presenters return to the green room. So organizers and presenters can now end the session with this new end event button for town halls, webinars, and structured meetings. Now, after selecting this button, attendees will see a message on the stage stating that the session has concluded and presenters will be returned to the green room. I think that's great. You can decompress in there, you can do lessons learned. I think that is a great idea. That's coming out February of 2025. And good news, everybody's
Everybody
getting the
gets it.
love. GCC, GCC High, DoD, worldwide. It's fabulous. Then Outlook has account descriptions. So I don't know about you, but I have about 4 or 5 Microsoft accounts because my customers have one and I use one with my customer. Planet Technologies has one. I have one with them. I have my private or my personal. And then I also have my own SharePoint environment. So I have 4 or more Microsoft accounts. So with this new change, Outlook users can now set custom descriptions for their accounts, making them easier to tell apart in the folder list and various lists and menus across the applications. The description can be set in the account setting in New Outlook for Windows. And that's coming in January. Unfortunately, or fortunately, as the case may be, let me take a look here. Yep, that's just for the commercial tenant. And then page authoring accessibility checker in SharePoint. I'm really happy about this. SharePoint, not the most accessible thing in the world. So every step they take to make it more acceptable, I get excited about. So SharePoint Accessibility Assistant empowers content creators to ensure the SharePoint page meets accessibility standards. Now that's coming out in March, and that is coming out for everybody. That's coming out for worldwide, GCC, GCC High, and DoD.
Hoping they make that much more front and center where you don't have to go digging to try to
For
find
it,
accessibility stuff. Yeah, because if you have to dig for it, unless that's something that is a big thing for you or your organization, it just doesn't get done.
no.
So if it's much more upfront and you can say, click to tell me what the accessibility things are, it's like, oh, I didn't realize those are not two really good color combinations to put together. You can
Yeah,
make the change at the real time of actually building the page instead of trying to go back afterwards and make it conform to
and doing
whatever.
it then, yeah.
Yeah, so good stuff.
Last one for in development, and that's Microsoft Teams open file link preference to extend across Microsoft 365 apps. Woo! So when it comes to how to links to the cloud-hosted Word, Excel, PowerPoint files should open, you may prefer to open in a browser, desktop apps, or directly in Teams. Now your Teams file open preference will extend to across Microsoft 365 apps, creating a consistent open file experience. Now, if you prefer, you will still be able to choose your Teams file open preference separately. So that's coming out in February. Very excited about that. All right, Tom, do you have anything else in development?
I'm just going to mention it because it's like, you know, really, I'm sure some people will love this. I'm like, just another thing that I don't know. And that is Python in Excel for the web. It's like Python in
It's
Excel
supposed to be
allows
great.
you, oh yeah, allows you to bring the capabilities of Python directly into the Excel grid as part of this feature update. Eligible users will now be able to add Python formulas directly to their workbook. This is the thing that always got me about when they would talk about, using Power Apps. It's like It's great. You can pick it up easily because it uses Excel formulas. And I'm like, and I don't know Excel, so that gets me nowhere. Now it's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, and guess what? We're going to add new formulas based on Python. And I'm like, and Tom doesn't know Python either. So yeah, this is one of those things like, yeah, I guess that's the next Coursera thing I need to start looking at is figuring out what Python is and how to make that work and where would I use this as opposed to just something different. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that was more of a sigh. Okay,
You want to kick us off with one in rolling out?
I can do that. So I've got a couple of them here.
Oh, you can
Um,
pick one.
oh, okay. I've got one here. Let's see, which one am I going to do? I'm going to take Outlook, none color category for mail and calendar in the new Outlook for Windows and web. So if you use categorization, it's great, take up to 20 colors, whatever the number of colors you have out there for categorization, and you can put all that stuff out there. But unfortunately, there is a default color for like your calendar entries and your mail
I
entries.
do.
Yeah, it's just this bluish thing. It's like, okay, but I don't want any color out there. I just want it to blend into whatever the background color is of the square that it's sitting in. You've not had that option until now. So now you can pick a color category of none. So it just sits out there. It's part of the calendar, but it doesn't have a color block around it anymore. It just fades into whatever the background is. And that is actually coming out this month and it's coming out to everybody. So if you have a SharePoint tenant and you're looking at your, you know, stuff on the web or whatever, yeah, you don't have to have colors in any of your meetings or emails anymore.
Great. And then Microsoft Teams, the ability to take control during screen sharing on the web. So this updates enables meeting participants using Microsoft Teams web app to use the take control function to request control while another person is screen sharing. And that is rolling out now. Let's see who it's going out to.
Everybody gets
That's
love.
going out to everybody. And you get to take control, and you get to take control, and you get to take control.
So this is something you've been able to do in the Teams client, just not the web app,
Yes.
correct?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Yep. And then that's pretty much it for rolling out. Then we have launched. Do you want to take the one in launched and I'll take the canceled?
Okay, I can do that. Outlook, drag and drop to download attachments and emails for GCC. So now you can basically drag and drop attachments and emails from the new Outlook for Windows to their desktop or local folders instead of you having to try to detach and do all those kind of things. A feature that's already available in worldwide multi-tenant will now be available for customers in GCC. Let's hear it for hashtag new Outlook for Windows.
Yes. And
That
then we
is
have
launched, so
two.
you should have it.
Yes. So we do have two on the canceled list. Microsoft Teams, Microsoft Whiteboard can be added to Mesh event. We will not release this feature at this time. We will not. We're sorry for the inconvenience and will continue to share updated roadmap entries as additional mesh features and functionality. Wow, becomes apparent.
So, in other
Sorry
words,
about
if you're
that.
waiting for legs in your mesh avatar, well, maybe you'll get that one before you'll get this one.
Yeah, that could be. So the mesh event participants were going to be able to use Whiteboard in the Mesh 3D environment, but now you can't. So, and the last one, remote contact management for common area phones. This is in Microsoft Teams. This roadmap item is canceled and replaced by another item. We're sorry for any inconvenience. IT admins will be able to manage and add contacts to team phone devices deployed in shared spaces throughout the team's admin center. This ensures users across the organization can easily dial important contacts such as emergency numbers or help desks.
Yeah, I can see with the emergency numbers being really helpful if you've got like a phone sitting out in the lobby. You want to be able to pick up that phone and call, manage the contacts that that phone can actually
Yeah,
access.
especially if you
So,
have to dial 9 or
oh yeah, that
0 to get
is
out.
always a lot of fun.
Yeah, trying to figure that out
Is it
while somebody's having a heart
9911? Is it
attack.
911?
Is it
911, I get nothing.
1911? Is it 9991? Anyway, well, that's everything on the roadmap. So that's what's new, changed, and updated, and how it's going to impact you. So tune in next week when we go over more updates and have a great day.
Hi, everyone.
Bye now.